for so long, we've been told to pray our problems away. We've been demonized. We've been misdiagnosed. There's a lot of trust issues. So I decided to do something about it.
What about mental health? I know
Mental
you're big
health.
on that.
I wanted to say this to you because I know you're pushing the mental health, which is good. We have mental health issues in the black community. But Charlamagne, you got to be careful for a couple reasons. Number one, for black people, mental health is all about medicine. They don't give a damn about us.
Yeah, they want to just put us on
They want to
medication.
push Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, Cyclert, Risperdal, Depakote, Prozac, Paxil. So when you say mental health for black folks, Envy, you have to make sure you're talking about traditional talk therapy.
That's right.
Don't let them push them pills. Don't let them push them pills.
Don't let them push them pills.
Remember now, it was the psychologists who came up with the philosophical and theoretical rationale for segregation. A lot of people don't know this. Who was Adolf Hitler's propaganda minister? A psychologist by the name of Joseph Goebbels. Go to South Africa. Who engineered the apartheid regime? A white psychologist. Come to America. Who engineered and justified separate but equal and black inferiority and white superiority? It was psychologists. Henry H. Goddard at the top of that list and others. So the reason black people don't search out mental health, Charlamagne, ain't because we don't want it. But we recognize that the mental health establishment played a significant role in the destabilization of the black community. Did you know that up until 1965, 38 states didn't let black people have kids or get married if your IQ score was beneath a certain number? You see, and not only that, even if you come to me for therapy, Envy, if you tell me something that is potentially incriminating, by law, I have to break the therapist-client privilege and tell on you. So a lot of black mothers who need therapy ain't going, Charlamagne. You know why? Because if I tell them what happened to my child, it's hurting me. I need to talk, but if I tell them, they can take my children.
We're scared to talk to white folks. That's why we need black therapists.
That's why we need black therapists.
That's why we need black therapists.
And we need the black psychologists to get back into therapy because a lot of black psychologists are not doing therapy. You know what they're doing? Testing and assessment. You know why? There's more money
in the medication,
in testing and assessment in medicine than it is in the talk therapy. So that's something that we have to do. So that's something that we have to do.
It's about us. I needed you to think about me for a change. On screen, she's an emotional tour de force. Y'all are really smart. Now actress Taraji P. Henson is taking that same passion to urban schools nationwide and helping to eradicate the stigma around mental health for African American teens.
For so long, it's been looked upon as a weakness in our community.
And Taraji is determined to change that. Last year, she launched the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, named after her father, a Vietnam vet who himself struggled with PTSD and depression.
My dad was the first person who made me feel comfortable with talking about mental health.
Since the early 1990s, the suicide rate among black children has nearly doubled, while the rate for white children has declined.
This is a national crisis.
This summer, Taraji fought on Capitol Hill for more mental health funding in African American communities.
I don't ever want to get to a place where I can sit and be comfortable spewing facts and numbers about children as young as 5 years old taking their life. That should never be normal.
Making the crisis worse, not enough African American therapists. Today, only 4% of psychologists are black. When Taraji's own son Marcel was struggling, she found it nearly impossible to find him one.
Trying to find a culturally competent therapist was like looking for a purple unicorn with a gold horn.
That's why her foundation offers scholarships to encourage more black students to study in the field of mental health.
What do people not know about growing up African American in this country?
I mean, to wake up and to know that at any moment you could be a target just because the color of your skin. That is a heavy weight to carry. People go, but you're a celebrity. Yes, I'm the celebrity, but my son is not. And I wake up every day praying that he makes it home alive. We see these African American men being shot with no weapon. So the message that's being conveyed to the African American community is just that my blackness is a threat. And I can't scrub it off.
It became an issue because
You have to be culturally competent in order for me to feel safe sharing my deepest secrets and what my fears and being vulnerable. So when it came time to look for a therapist that looked like me, there were none.
And so we decided to do something about it.
This is the first ever Black mental health kickback called You Good Bro. It's an informal gathering for Black men primarily to talk about mental health, emotional wellness, and brothers just really sharing and being vulnerable about life experiences, hardship that they go through. So it's really a conversation that we're just kicking off. There's an absence of safe spaces where Black men can be vulnerable and talk about emotions and feelings and vulnerabilities and all the things that we go through on a daily basis. And when I say safe spaces, that could be your group chat. That could be your fantasy sports team. That could be your church group or your frat. Safe spaces for Black men have to be cultivated. And I'm simply helping to bring to life what I would have always wanted someone to do for me. So we had the men of Elmont here from my alma mater. It was incredible to see these young men, 16, 17 years old, just soak up and absorb a lot of this conversation about mental health and emotional wellness.
So that's why I couldn't shake this feeling. I said I have to do something, or at least do my part to help facilitate the healing.
Thomas, and I'm the clinical director at Kendrick Connections Therapy Center. The focus of the practice is to work with African American children, youth, and families impacted by trauma. One of the things when I work with children who've been diagnosed with ADHD or any type of emotional regulation or dysregulation, that's exactly what we work on. We work on being aware of the body, being aware of sensations in the body, knowing where different feelings impact you in your body. Then we work on emotional regulation. So that means your ability to tolerate a certain level of stress or to be able to calm your body when it needs to be calm. One of the things that we do here when working with people who've experienced trauma is EMDR, and it stands for eye motion desensitization and reprocessing. It's a therapeutic technique that reprocesses old trauma memories. Trauma is stored in the body, and if we don't do a good job of reprocessing the memories or managing or dealing with the trauma, then it can get stuck, and it manifests itself in physical symptoms. It manifests itself with anger, lashing out, drinking, drugs. It shows up in a lot of different ways because those memories haven't been reprocessed. We go through the process of bringing those feelings up, and then we work on desensitizing the connection with that memory to the experience that the client is currently having. The thing about my job that I love the most and that brings me the most joy is when I see someone who moves from being disempowered, they really have not connected to their value or their self-worth, and then we're able to bring that out. Revelations come out and suppressed memories being able to come back up, and then people feeling as if they have the skills to be able to overcome those challenges, I think is the most rewarding thing.
For the most part, antidepressants don't work. Why is that, you ask? Well, I'm glad you're asking these questions. Unless you have a medical condition, you do not need psychotropic medication. Just as we don't take anti-inflammatories for hair loss, we also shouldn't take drugs for psychological challenges that we are facing. All antidepressants do is dull the senses, and that's not living, that's existing. We need to stop making pseudo-psycho ailments fashionable. We are enabling a comfort zone. What if there were no drugs for you to take? Would you just lie down and wait for wild animals to eat you alive? Or would you deal with the situation as it happens? This is how you should tackle each day as it arrives. When you pop a pill saying, "Oh, I can't cope," you are really saying that you are dependent on it. This implies a victim mentality and a refusal to take charge. As with any crutch, what are you going to do without it? Well, do exactly that and stop taking the drugs that you don't need. Unfortunately, the mental health care system exists to make an insane amount of money. Stop buying into the hype. At best, the average depressed person needs to get a life, a real life, not just a drugged up existence. These drugs are for proper psychiatric medical cases. Over 90% of people on these dangerous drugs don't even properly qualify. If you're one of those people with a true medical condition, you can take the medication and still be proactive about it. Consider different professional opinions and pursue new and unique methods for treatment. Look for ways that you can reduce the symptoms of your ailment. Seek out natural ways to address the imbalances in your body so that you're not dependent on the chemicals forever. Medication should be taken for the short term wherever possible. I'm standing here before you telling you all of this, not for the controversy, because it's true.